Some people stop loving after a breakup, but Ethan didn't. Every morning, he still checked his phone, hoping for one message from her. Every night, he whispered her name before sleeping. And even after she left him, he still dreamed of marrying her one day. But what he discovered 2 years later completely shattered. His heart, rain, softly touched the windows of Ethan's small apartment. The room was silent except for the ticking clock hanging on the wall. Ethan sat alone near the window, holding an old photograph in his trembling hands. In the picture, a girl with bright eyes and a beautiful smile leaned against his shoulder. Her name was Lily, the love of his life. The girl he still couldn't forget. 2 years had passed since she disappeared from his life. No goodbye, no explanation, just silence. But Ethan never stopped loving her. Every day after work, he visited the same coffee shop where they first met. He always ordered 2 coffees, one for himself and one for the girl he still believed would return someday. People in the cafe often looked at him with pity, but Ethan didn't care. Love had made him stubborn. Deep inside his heart, he still believed. One day, I will marry her. 5 years earlier, Ethan was a quiet university student who rarely talked to anyone. One cold morning, while reading a book in the campus cafe, someone accidentally spilled coffee on him. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Ethan looked up. A nervous girl stood before him holding tissue. That was Lily. She kept apologizing while Ethan awkwardly smiled. That little accident became the beginning of their love story. Soon, they started studying together, walking together, laughing together, and eventually dreaming together. Lily often said, "If we ever get married, I want a small house with white curtains and flowers outside." Ethan would smile and answer, "And I'll make you coffee every morning forever." They were happy. The kind of happiness people pray for. The promise. One evening, Ethan took Lily to the rooftop of their university building. The city lights sparkled around them. His hands shook nervously as he held a silver ring. "Lily, I don't have a lot of money right now, but one day, I promise, I'll marry you." Tears filled Lily's eyes. She hugged him tightly and whispered, "I'll wait for you forever." That night became Ethan's favorite memory, because he truly believed nothing could separate them, but life had other plans. The sudden goodbye. A few months later, Lily slowly changed. Her replies became shorter. Her smile became weaker. Sometimes Ethan caught her secretly crying. Whenever he asked what happened, she simply said, "I'm just tired." Then, one morning, she disappeared. Her phone was switched off. Her apartment was empty. Even her social media accounts vanished. Ethan searched everywhere. He called hospitals, friends, relatives. No one knew anything. It was as if Lily had disappeared from the world. Ethan felt broken, but instead of hating her, he kept loving her, because his heart refused to believe she left without a reason. 2 years later, one winter evening, Ethan received a message from an unknown number. "Meet me at Riverside Hospital, please." His heart stopped. He somehow knew it was Lily. Ethan rushed through the freezing streets. When he entered the hospital room, his entire world shattered. Lily sat on the bed looking pale and weak. Her beautiful hair was gone. Dark circles surrounded her tired eyes. Ethan slowly whispered, "Lily, what happened to you?" Tears rolled down her cheeks. "I didn't leave because I stopped loving you." She lowered her head. "I left because I was dying." Ethan froze. The doctors had discovered cancer shortly after their engagement. Lily didn't want Ethan to waste his life watching her suffer, so she disappeared. Alone, silently, carrying all the pain by herself. Ethan's eyes filled with tears. He grabbed her trembling hands tightly. "You idiot," he cried softly. "You should have let me suffer with you." Lily broke down crying. "I was scared. I didn't want you to remember me this way." Ethan shook his head. "I would love you in every condition, healthy or sick, happy or broken. The most painful question Lily looked at him with trembling lips. After everything, do you still want to marry me? Ethan immediately knelt beside her hospital bed, with tears streaming down his face. He took out the same silver ring he had kept for 2 years. I never stopped being yours. The nurses outside the room quietly cried, watching them. Lily smiled through tears as Ethan gently placed the ring on her finger. For the first time in years, they felt complete again. Ethan thought the hardest part was losing Lily, but he was wrong. The real pain began after he got her back, because every morning he woke up terrified. Terrified that the woman he loved most in this world might not survive another day. Story continues. After their small wedding inside the hospital chapel, Ethan refused to leave Lily alone for even a minute. He moved into a small room beside her hospital ward. Every morning, before sunrise, he quietly made coffee for himself and warm tea for Lily. The nurses smiled whenever they saw him gently fixing her blanket or reading stories beside her bed. People in the hospital started calling him the husband who never leaves. And honestly, they had never seen a love like his before. The hard days. Cancer treatment slowly drained Lily's body. Some days she smiled. Some days she cried from unbearable pain. And on the worst nights, she begged Ethan to let her go. One rainy evening, Lily looked at him weakly and whispered, "Ethan, if I die, promise me you'll love again." Ethan immediately shook his head. "Don't ever say that, but promise me." "No." Tears filled his eyes. "You are my once-in-a-lifetime love." Lily turned away silently and cried into her pillow, because deep inside, she feared she was becoming a burden. The secret notebook. A few days later, Ethan accidentally found a small blue notebook hidden inside Lily's hospital drawer. At first, he didn't want to open it, but a folded note on top read, "For Ethan, if I'm gone." His hands trembled. Slowly, he opened the notebook. Inside were hundreds of handwritten pages. Every page was about him. Page 1. "Today Ethan smiled at me while pretending not to be nervous. I think I'm falling in love with him." Page 35. "Ethan walked me home in the rain and gave me his jacket even though he was freezing. I secretly wanted to hug him forever." Page 90. "Today he proposed to me. I wanted time to stop." Ethan's tears fell onto the pages. But then he reached the final entries and his heart shattered. Last entry. The doctor said, "I may not survive long." So I left Ethan. Not because I stopped loving him, but because I loved him too much to watch his heart break. Slowly beside a hospital bed. If he's reading this someday, I hope he forgives me. Ethan broke down completely. He pressed the notebook against his chest and cried like a child, because only now did he fully understand how much pain Lily carried alone. The dream? That night, Lily suddenly woke up, crying. "I had a dream," she whispered. "What dream?" "I saw us all together." Ethan smiled softly. "That's not sad." "But in the dream, I survived." Silence filled the room. Lily looked away. "I'm scared to hope." Ethan held her face gently. "Then I'll hope enough for both of us." A small wish. One afternoon, while snow slowly fell outside the hospital window, Lily quietly asked, "Can we go outside tomorrow?" The doctor said, "You need rest."
I know.
She smiled weakly. "But I want to feel normal again, even for 1 hour." The next morning, Ethan borrowed a wheelchair from the hospital. He wrapped Lily carefully in warm blankets and took her outside. Snowflakes touched her cheeks as she laughed softly like a little girl. It was the first real smile Ethan had seen in months. He pushed her toward the nearby park where children played happily. Lily watched them silently. Then tears appeared in her eyes. "What happened?" Ethan asked. She whispered softly, "I wanted a little girl someday." Ethan's chest tightened painfully. "She would have had your smile." Lily cried quietly while holding his hand tighter. The letter? That evening, Ethan returned to the hospital room and found Lily writing something carefully. "What are you writing?" She quickly hid the paper. "Nothing." But after she fell asleep, the paper slipped onto the floor. Ethan picked it up. It was a letter addressed to him. The letter. Dear Ethan, if you are reading this, it means I couldn't stay longer. Please, don't spend your life crying for me. Eat properly. Sleep on time. And please stop drinking cold coffee because you always forget it on the table. Also, thank you for loving me in a way most people only see in movies. You made my painful life beautiful. And if heaven exists, I'll wait for you there too. Forever yours, Lily. Ethan couldn't breathe. His entire body shook with silent tears. He sat beside his sleeping form all night, holding her hand, afraid, terrified, not ready to lose her again. The midnight emergency. At 2:13 a.m., the hospital alarms suddenly rang loudly. Doctors rushed into Lily's room. Ethan stepped back in fear. Her heartbeat is dropping. Everything became chaotic. Machines beeped rapidly. Nurses shouted instructions. Ethan stood frozen outside the room as tears streamed down his face. He kept whispering, "Please? Not her. Please." Minutes felt like hours. Finally, the doctor came out slowly. Ethan immediately stood up. The doctor sighed deeply. She survived, but her condition is becoming critical. Ethan collapsed into the chair in relief and pain at the same time, because he realized something terrifying. Love could not protect her forever. The promise under the stars. A week later, Ethan secretly carried Lily to the hospital rooftop at night. The city lights sparkled beneath them, the same way they once did years ago at university. Lily smiled weakly. You remembered. I remember everything about you. They sat quietly under the stars. Then Ethan gently whispered, "If we don't get forever, then let's make every second count." Lily leaned her head against his shoulder, and for a moment, the world felt peaceful again. Lily was running out of time, but Ethan still refused to give up. Every heartbeat of hers became his reason to fight. Until one day, a little child in the hospital asked him a question that completely broke him. "Mister, why do you cry when your wife is sleeping?"